Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Williamson Herald High School Football Weekly Report for the next to last week of the season. Charles, can you believe we finally made it?
I don't know about finally. It seems like it's been a real marathon for sure, but geez, lots of games still to go. Some bye weeks going on again. It's another short week, but a busy week because we got Thursday and Friday football on top of a lot of different stuff too. We got volleyball going on out here at MTSU, and you letting us come into your house here.
Yeah, you're welcome, everyone. For me, of course, I work here at MTSU, and so I graciously allowed Charles to come down to Floyd Stadium for our backdrop. As he said, the volleyball state championships taking part right now down here in Murfreesboro. The Brentwood Lady Bruins looking for another state championship. Charles, you've watched that team all season. What do you think of the Lady Bruins this week?
Well, going for a sixth straight title. They already knocked out
Dominant.
6 straight region titles, 6 straight district titles, and they opened up the state tournament with a big win over Dobbins-Bennett. So we'll see what the girls can do, but come Thursday, I anticipate seeing them challenging for number 6.
Yeah, so that's Brentwood, the Lady Bruins there on the volleyball side. Switching over to the football side, it feels more like fall this week. I think we're in the low 50s right now. I know I'm shivering. Charles might not be because he's from Alaska, but my Indiana bones certainly do not like this cold weather, and I'm shivering. However, we got some good action to heat us up on Friday, starting with Page hosting a Shelbyville team in a big Region 5-5A game.
Both these teams come in with a 7-1 overall record, 4-0 in that region, and this really does decide who's the region champ out of that. Shelbyville went to Summit and just trounced the Spartans a couple weeks ago on a 35-6 win there. And now it's going to be a showdown in Rudderville. It should be a pretty good one. Grayson Trammell comes in here. He's completing 64% of his passes on the year to lead the Golden Eagles. 1,813 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions. A very impressive kid there. He led the state in passing yards last year. He's got 4 receivers with multiple TDs. Arius Trice leads the way, 59 receptions, 866 yards, and 12 touchdowns. So Page with their hands full. I like it because it is at Page. That's a big plus for the Patriots there, but Cade Walker and crew are going to really have to bring it to take down this Shelbyville team.
Yeah, as you said, the Page defense has been playing better of late. I think they've held 3 of their last 4 opponents in single digits, but they have their hands full with Grayson Trammell this week. That kid can fling the football around. Switching over to Division II now, Charles. Brentwood Academy is going to host NBA this week and a rematch of the last 3 state championship games in Division II 2A. Charles, this Eagles team has been just rolling the past couple of years, lost a 26-game winning streak 2 weeks ago to McCallie, had a bye last week to lick their wounds. I think the Eagles can come out and show the Big Red something in this game.
Well, and I think it's something about getting the guys back and refocused again. You know, it's not necessarily they had that pressure of that big winning streak, but I think if you're Coach Cody White, you got the guys refocused in and they're actually paying attention to Coach again probably because, hey, we did lose, and now we're going to a big rivalry matchup. And for some reason, Brentwood Academy has tumbled down to number 5 ranked in Division II AAA, and I just do not see that. I still see them right at the top. Obviously, McCallie coming in, beating them 2 weeks ago, but still, BA is the team to beat, especially here as we get into late November, December. And NBA coming in with a 7-1, 4-0 record in that region against the 7-1, 3-1 Eagles. And I think Coach Marty Uverard is seeing some of the similarities that Coach Cody White has to go through. He's got a young quarterback leading the way. There's been some growing pains there. I think that QB there has thrown about 6 interceptions or so. But at the same time, on BA's side, it was an interception that killed him against McCallie. Just a brutal fourth-quarter interception. The Blue Tornado run it back in and win 31-27. So some similarities there at QB, and it's just going to come down to just how this battle goes. I mean, I've been at the NBA BA games for, I think, 5 or 6 years, going all the way back to, even when they played in that championship and that thrilling double overtime one. I'm ready for another battle. I think it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, this will be a fun one. Of course, the Eagles have won 5 out of the last 6 meetings in this series, including the last 3 state championships over NBA. Well, let's switch back over to Division I now, shall we? The race is getting really tight in Region 6-6A. right now, all these teams have one more region game left to go. 3 of the teams are in action this week, and those 3 teams are all out of the region playing this week. We'll start with Brentwood, tied atop that region with a 3-1 record in 6A. They'll go to Marshall County, a team out of the 4A class that, Charles, this year has not looked as good as Marshall County has looked in the past few years. But as you said earlier while we were talking off air, they've played a really tough schedule this year. Could make things tough on the Bruins.
Well, that's the thing. Marshall County losses to Cane Ridge, obviously in that region with Maplewood and Tullahoma, some of the toughest teams you'll see in 4A. And also another loss to Pearl Cone, I think, as well. So that's a tough, brutal record, schedule to kind of go with. And then on top of that, now you're going to host the Brentwood team. And for Brentwood, I think it's a pretty big week because, obviously they're coming off of just getting over losing a teammate. Coming out of that bye week, 21-10 win over Father Ryan in homecoming. Had that week off, just trying to come over, and it'll be neat to see how Coach Ron Crawford and the guys come back together. I think it's going to be a big team effort there, and this will be a big step for Brentwood able to move on, I think.
Yeah, it'll be an emotional one Friday night for the Bruins. They'll host Centennial in the final week of the season, which could be a very, very big game with a lot of playoff implications there. Another team that's 3-1 in this 3-1 in this region, Independence, who's looked really, really good the past couple of weeks. Last week getting a big 42-0 win over Dixon County. They'll host a Memphis East team. This game was supposed to be played in Memphis, Charles, but for some circumstantial reason, Memphis East is going to travel over to Independence. That's a long way to go, and they're going to play on Thursday instead of Friday. Just a weird game coming in. Memphis East has not looked very good this year at 0-7. They've only scored 12 points this season, 6 points in 2 different games. I don't know if Memphis East can hang with the Eagles.
Well, that's the thing, making the trip all the way across the state, really, when you think about it. And then on top of that, when you've been shut out 5 times already, I don't know how motivated you are going to be going into an Independence game like this. But for Indy, it's just another opportunity to kind of regain some more traction there. It's been the Ethan Cash show right now. Indy started 1-3, and they're 3-1 since they've handed over the reins to Cash. He's thrown for 15 touchdowns, more than 1,300 yards in those 4 games. And, it makes it a little easier when you got a guy like TJ Sheffield and Isaiah Collier out there. When you sling the ball to guys like that, they'll get things done. But he has looked very efficient. The only loss was against CPA in a shootout, and that was 55-37. So, there's some things to be looked at there, and Ethan Cash has been leading the way. I think Independence is going to play Ravenwood in 2 weeks, and that's going to decide this region title, and that's going to be a beauty. Yeah,
look for Independence's defense to get a little footing under it in this game. They haven't played well this season, but this is the perfect game for them to show us what they're made of. The last team playing in this region this week, Franklin, is going to host a Spring Hill team also playing on Thursday. Spring Hill also winless this season at 0-8. It's been a really tough season for the Raiders so far. This will be Franklin's senior night. The Rebels are going to come out firing in this one.
Oh, definitely. And, they're bouncing back from that loss at number 2 ranked Oakland. So anytime you play Oakland, that's just a different caliber of a football team right now. We're here at MTSU, and, I think they could challenge some colleges.
They might give MTSU a run. They really might.
At least for a little while. It'd just be entertaining. Overall, I think depth would come in eventually. But, hey, there's some
It'd be fun to see. How about that?
Maybe. But for Franklin, going into this one, they beat Spring Hill at Spring Hill last year, and that was a good momentum one for Franklin. Spring Hill, on the other hand, lost 28-7 to Marshall County last week. So, again, they've had a tough schedule as well, but just haven't been able to find any wins.
Yeah, the other team in that region, in our coverage area, Ravenwood is on a bye this week. Centennial also on a bye. So it'll be a very, very interesting last week of the season next week to see how this 6A region shapes up going into the state playoffs. Let's stay in Division I, and we'll go over to GCA. GCA looking for its first win this season. It's been a tough go of things for the Lions all year long. They're going to host a Mount Pleasant team that's 6-2, looking really, really good in Region 1 5A. Charles, I don't know if the Lions can get it done again this week.
Well, that's the thing. The task just keep getting taller and taller for GCA, and you want to say good things because they are in that transition year. They got a lot of young players, and this is just another opportunity to try to regain some more of that experience that's much needed. But Mount Pleasant coming in as one of the top teams in 1A, so when it comes to that, it's just going to be a tough battle for GCA.
Yeah, GCA, we're sorry about the tough luck this year, but hopefully you can come out with one in the last 2 weeks of the season here. They're also coming off their second bye week of the season, a little bit of a strange schedule there for GCA to deal with as well. Back to Division II now. FRA lost a tough game to Battleground Academy last week, but they did hold BGA's really fire-powered offense down to just 14 points. It was a 14-3 final. I want to see the Panthers get some offense in this game. They're going to host a Hickman County team that's coming into this one after a Monday loss. So this will be their second game in 5 days. Not sure how Hickman County can handle that, Charles.
Going into FRA as well, I think that's just going to be a big one there because the Panthers really had a disappointing showing in a rivalry region matchup against BGA. Had they won that game, it would have set up a showdown for CPA. Winner takes the region in that final week. Yep. So a big setback there for the Panthers and a disappointing showing. That's twice now in the last 2 years where they have just not been able to score the ball against BGA. Great for the Wildcats because it's been able to show that they can play the defense they need to when they can. But 14-3 against a team like the Panthers that won 5 straight going into that one, moving the ball really well. They got Lance Wilhoit coming back. I mean, there was all these things going, and they couldn't score touchdowns. So I think the Panthers are going to come back. They're going to face this Hickman County team. Both teams are 5-3, but I think Hickman County has a big uphill battle against this. I know Hickman County played the 6th-ranked Riverside team in Class 2A, fell in that one. They've lost 2 straight, I think, actually. So some work to be done there, but the Panthers look pretty solid.
Yeah. And our last game of the week this week, Father Ryan, Charles, the Fighting Irish are going to travel all the way over to Chattanooga to face a tough Baylor team this week. It's been a tough go of things lately for the Fighting Irish.
Well, the Irish actually losing 5 straight games here. Going to a Baylor team that's lost a couple in a row as well, but for Father Ryan, they got to find some offense and find some consistency there. And I think on the road at Chattanooga might not be the best spot to do it, but hey, we're near the end of the season, still looking for that first region win as well. You might as well get it going and kick it into gear now. Yeah,
and Baylor lost to McCallie 21-6 last week. And this Father Ryan team will finish their season against McCallie next week to finish what's just been a gauntlet of games this year for the Fighting Irish. That's all our games this week, Charles. We have a lot of teams on bye. If I can flip over to the right page and see all of them. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, out of 6A, Ravenwood and Centennial taking byes this week into next week's final week. Also in Division I, Summit, Fairview, and Nolensville, all on byes this week before wrapping up their seasons next week in the final week of the season. CPA and BGA in that Division II AA middle region also on bye this week. So we still have plenty of action going on this week. It should be an exciting couple of days on Thursday and Friday. What do you most want to see this week?
Well, I just want to get some more Thursday football out of the way, man. I tell you what, this really spreads into, it's exciting to be on the field consistently, but that's a lot of work to be out there as well. So back-to-back games, back-to-back weeks with Thursday games has really kind of stressed me out a little bit. So I'm ready to get into the routine and get into some playoff stuff here. And obviously this week, it's almost like all our teams are kind of playing not as big of games as you might see. Still just trying to find some traction and get everybody healed up and stuff. So I'm looking for the finale next week is kind of the one that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, with volleyball, soccer state tournament starting next week, football winding down, we're all praying for you, Charles. We know you're out here working your tail off. Yes, there are. So for Charles Polium, Josh Vardaman, you've been watching the Williamson Herald High School Football Weekly Report. We'll see you next week for the regular season finale.